This episode of Sideline Warning is brought to you by Roosport, makers of the original magnetic running pouch. Whether you're biking, running, hiking, or even traveling, the Roosport clips to your waistband with magnets for an easy, convenient way to carry what you need without the bulk of belts or bags. Visit theroosport.com and use the code SIDELINE30, all lowercase, for 30% off their entire product line. Again, that's theroosport.com, promo code SIDELINE30. And now on with the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, put down your solo cups and fried pickles because this is Sideline Warning, the show with the perfect balance of hot sports takes, amazing insights, and good Lord, amen, get off my lawn style rants. If you want to be a part of the madness, call the Blitz line at 931-44-BLITZ. That's B-L-I-T-Z, because that's how you spell Blitz. And now, here to recap this week's biggest and best stories from around the Southeast and beyond are your hosts, the phenomenal brother Adam Russell and the golden voice of the Southeast, Dave Adams. Let's do this.
And welcome back into Sideline Warning. As always, you've got the one, the only, the golden voice of the Southeast, Dave Adams, coming to you live and in living color from Harvest, Alabama. That's right, the top of the state of Alabama, because I am always on top of my game when it comes to the sports game. And for the first time in 3 weeks, you've got both of us. He's all the way from the House of Mouse. His phone is vibrating already. His fans have heard that we are recording. All the way from the House of Mouse, from St. Cloud, the one, the only, the phenomenal Brother Russell. What's going on, Adam?
How you doing, man? It's hot.
It's hot here, too.
I'm telling you.
We are already 10 days in the year above 90 degrees in the state of Alabama, or in Huntsville.
Yeah.
We normally only get 56, and we're already at 10 in May.
You're overachieving. That's great.
Just like this podcast, we overachieve.
The nights have been nice, though, I have to say.
Yeah, it's been decent. I've
spent a little bit of a breeze going, yeah.
Yeah, I've spent a couple of nights on my back patio. We're getting all right, but it's still hot. It's sticky.
Yeah.
So how are things, man? I feel like I hadn't talked to you in years.
Well, we've talked. It just hasn't been in such a grand and glorious setting as our normal weekly podcast.
That is true. So I guess our fans have missed our banter.
I know.
But you and I have got the banter. Last week I ran into some computer issues. My daughter had some 4-year-old tantrum issues. The week before, I was sick. You were sick.
Yep.
It's just been a rough couple of weeks trying to get this recording thing together.
It's time to come out of it and bust out of it and do fantastic things again, man.
Yeah.
There's no excuse anymore. We're well rested, right? If nothing else, we're well rested.
Exactly. And I think you spoiled, could we say spoiled the news last week?
Sure.
We're going to kind of introduce our shorter show. So keep in mind that normally we would do a good hour and 15 minutes for you guys, but we're going to change it to about 30 to 45 minutes with this show. And then in the probably, what do you say, Adam, the next 2 to 3 weeks?
Yeah.
You will get a new show with Adam and myself called Unrelated at Birth. Adam, go ahead and give him a little synopsis of that show.
It's not a show about nothing, but it's a show about anything. How about that?
Okay. I like it. I like it.
It's not a show about nothing. It's a show about anything. And I think, we always joke about that we were separated at birth. So kind of put a play on that with the title Unrelated at Birth. And the topics will be unrelated. Sideline Warning, we stay within the sidelines and within the end zones. And we're on the field in sports, see? Now with Unrelated at Birth, see? I've had a lot of time. We've had 3 weeks to think about this. We better come up with something snazzy. But with this, it'll be anything and everything. It could be theme parks one week and a Disney race the next, and just some rant we want to go off on around something in pop culture the week after that. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to open it up a little bit more and get us out of the sports world and allow us to flex our geek muscles and talk about all the other things that we like. So I think it's exciting.
I will say this. We have to give a shout out because I don't want the two podcasts that kind of do this that we're friends with to get upset. So we do have to thank our friends at I Am Geek who kind of showed us the route to do the Geek podcast.
Yep.
And if you want to go into the godfather of podcasts, we got to thank Free on Your Birthday with Bart Scott and Logan Sekulow, who also gave us the idea that it's okay to have a hodgepodge podcast. So
I want to take a line from the AFL because the AFL was never designed to compete with the NFL, right? It was designed to be a complementary offering. I think that's how we're looking at this. Hopefully we last longer than the AFL and just we don't decide to scrap it. So,
well, I tell you, with all the thought and with all the stuff that we're putting in for unrelated, we better make it past half a season. So I do want to give them, before we get into our sports, I do want to give them a small taste. Adam and I finally found a difference in each other this afternoon, actually. We were talking, you brought up the fact that you thought that the Eric Church album, Mr. Misunderstood, was the perfect country album.
Non-mainstream, yes.
Non-mainstream. I looked it up. I said, Eric Church is good. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and say, that's a good idea. But then I looked at it. It's only 36 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I got to thinking, your type of cigar is a small, stubby, smoking 20-minute type cigar, right?
Well, not 20 minutes, but definitely not the Churchill like you like.
Right. Now, let's be clear. Churchill is just what I smoke because it's readily available.
Oh, okay.
If I can find a big Excalibur,
oh, there you go.
I mean,
even the name sounds ridiculous.
They're massive. They are massive. I had one a couple years ago, but
oh my gosh.
I like the cigars that take about an hour and a half to sit there and smoke. I like to sit there and take time. I like to enjoy the ride of smoking the cigar.
Yeah.
I like albums that are an hour and a half to 2 hours long, packed full of music. You like music that you could sit and listen to in one car trip.
Yeah. Or cut the grass, right?
Right.
If
exactly.
it lasts longer than it takes to cut the grass, I'm probably not going to enjoy it.
I listen to podcasts. Like one of my favorite podcasts is Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard and Conrad Thompson. Each one of their episodes are about 2 to 3 hours.
Oh my gosh.
So it takes me 4 or 5.
Hey, no offense to those guys. God bless them. But I don't know. I don't know if I could do that. It's like there's one, I listen to a couple of political ones here and there and sprinkle in some stuff. And if they're longer than an hour, I probably won't finish it. So yeah, we have absolutely found a difference. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I like the ones that, you get in the car, you listen for a little bit, you go do what you got to do, get back in the car, and you pick up right where you left off.
Yeah.
See, you probably forget about it when you get in.
Or I get back in, I'm like, I already listened to that the whole ride in. I'm going to listen to something different the whole way back. Yeah.
Yeah. See, there's our difference. Yeah. There is our difference.
Yeah.
Like, I like a long playlist of music. I have a playlist right now that I can listen to start to finish all the way to Orlando, Huntsville to Orlando, and not have a repeat. That tells you how long my playlist can be. Anyway, there is just a little small snippet of Unrelated to Birth. But now, Adam, it's about a month and a half away.
Yeah.
SEC Media Days is coming. We wanted to talk about this a couple of weeks ago before my daughter had her massive breakdown.
It sounds really bad.
Well, I sent you a video of her breakdown.
Yeah, that's true.
It was bad. It was not fun. But Lindy's magazine came out a couple of weeks ago. And usually when that comes out, we take time out to talk football. Before we get into the magazine, there was an article in there that I sent you a snippet of about an anonymous coach talked about Tua Tagovailoa. And my thoughts on when a coach goes anonymous.
Yep.
He doesn't have the cojones to get up and say what he really thinks.
Yep.
But basically, this coach said that Tua cost Alabama the game in the national championship game because he got ahead of himself. He thought he was a better quarterback than he was. And he said that Tua needs to basically reel it back in because he thinks that Alabama could struggle if Tua plays like he did. His direct quote was, I think Tua needs to humble himself. I think he did some bad things in the bowl game that cost the team because he put himself ahead of the team. He needs to understand Alabama won national championships by playing great defense and special teams. Has he seen Alabama in the last 10 years?
I was trying to figure out how Tua cost them the national championship when we lost. What was the score?
44
to 16 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Was not there that night either. So
right.
Let's be clear on that.
And he says in the national championship game, the quarterback play was atrocious, and some would say the play calling was as well.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing is I don't disagree that Tua and the offense directly had the biggest part in us losing that game as badly as we did. I think the problem is not necessarily Tua and his ego. I think the problem was we developed tendencies against a cupcake schedule. We've talked several times. There was the one play where Tua took a deep shot, and they literally had a corner drop back as soon as the ball was snapped and play safety right to where he threw it.
Mm-hmm.
We developed tendencies, and we had game film that Clemson took advantage of. And you could say they had an extra week with having to play Notre Dame, an extra week to prepare. Because if you prepare for Alabama, you're preparing for everybody, right? But right. I think that they exploited things that the entire team, and specifically the coaches, allowed to develop. I think Tua was existing in the ecosystem that Saban and the coaching staff allowed him to exist in. And I don't think it was his ego more than it was his tendencies. And I think that's something we'll talk about it later. I don't want to jump too far ahead, but when we talk the outlook on this year, I think that's going to be Alabama's biggest hurdle, is reinventing themselves to get out of that rut that they found themselves in, and they were exposed against Clemson. But you didn't see Tua on the sidelines blaming other players. You didn't see Tua on the sidelines flipping off the other bench. You didn't see that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff would mean that Tua needs to humble himself.
Right,
Baker
exactly.
Mayfield kind of crap, right? That would mean he needs to humble himself. But I don't think his ego had anything to do with it. I think that an anonymous coach, I'm going to say something a little against ESPN, an anonymous coach coming out to SDS or Lindy's or whoever it is and saying something like this that's factually inaccurate but gets a rise out of people is no different than Stephen A. on ESPN commenting on Magic Johnson. You're obviously biased. You obviously are just trying to get a rise and get noticed. But at the same time, I think that's exactly the kind of stuff that Saban conditions his guys to just dismiss offhand. So
he does. But then if you look the last couple of years, Saban hasn't. I mean, the guys really have really paid attention to stuff that in years past.
That's true.
Teams would have just let roll off their back.
Yeah. Yep. But in either case, the fact that Tua needs to, quote, humble himself is garbage. That's a garbage opinion. So
I agree. And it's an SEC coach. So let's run this down. Who has the most
head coach?
Yes.
Okay. So an SEC
Gus
head
Malzahn. Gus Malzahn.
Mr. Contract Extension. Yeah.
I'm going Gus Bus.
I would say Dan Mullins.
That does have a Mullen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I would say Dan Mullins personally, but.
And he is the quarterback whisperer. That's okay. Yeah, I could see that. I can see that. All right. So leading into this, we'll talk nationwide first, and then we'll go down SEC, Alabama when we get after the Roo Sport read here in a second. Let's just go ahead and who do you think will be in New York? Here it is. We're recording this May 29th, a month and a half before all the media days happen and all of the talking heads start giving their projections. Give me your top 3 for New York next year. And you're on mute. I'm
not. I am on mute because I was typing.
Yeah.
I honestly don't really. To me, it doesn't really matter who number 3 is,
right?
Because
everyone really says they know who number 1 and 2 is. That's almost easy.
I mean, you say Tua and Trevor. Where I have trouble picking number 3 is what I think is going to. I think this is going to be the year because it was a hot topic last year. I think this is going to be the year where Alabama and Clemson's cupcake schedules cost them a little bit in terms of credibility, like really cost them a little bit.
Right.
And I think Tua and Trevor will make it. But I think who the third person is going to be, I don't know, this feels like a year where they're going to go after a story. Because the Alabama quarterback or the Clemson quarterback that had a cupcake schedule and threw 1,000 yards on everybody and scored 77 points a game, never played in the third quarter. It's going to be a repeat of that same storyline for Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
For all intents and purposes, there's no reason it shouldn't be. For Clemson, it'll be exactly the same thing. I think I'm not going to pick a third person more than I'm going to say there's going to be a, quote, feel good or politically happy or politically correct story that's going to come out of this season. And I think the third person is going to be the anti-cupcake schedule stat hog. And it's going to be somebody who performs well against some kind of adversity and will show up and might even take the Heisman away from Tua or Trevor.
Okay.
Because I think people are tired of this cupcake. That we're going to, at least we have to play the ELSUs and Mississippi States. And, we at least have that going for us, right?
Right.
I think people are just tired of the non-conference stuff. And I think they're especially with how the Heisman voting has gone recently, I think they're looking to change their image back into the character side, possibly even. I think there's going to be some kind of story that's going to come up and give that third person as almost like a dark horse kind of thing. But
I'll tell you, you hit on my third pick. I mean, it's obvious. 1 and 2, Trevor and Tua. I don't know which one's 1. I don't know which one's 2. Right now, in my mind, they're really 1A, 1B.
1A, 1B. Yeah, exactly.
Right. You hit on the nail on the head. The Heisman wants a story.
Yep.
Where am I going with this, Adam?
I don't know yet. Tell me, Dave.
The Heisman wants a story. For the last 3 years, what has been the narrative in the country? Who's going to be the starting quarterback at Alabama? Tua Tagovailoa? Jalen Hurts.
I see where you're. Yeah.
Your story? It's going to be redemption.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts goes to Oklahoma, and Oklahoma tries to make it 3 in a row. I think your top 3, in no particular order, Tua, Trevor, Jalen. And honestly, I think if Jalen gets invited to New York, the country gets behind Jalen, and you might see Jalen Hurts holding up that trophy, not wearing the number 2 on his back and not wearing crimson. He'll be wearing crimson, but it'll be the number 1 that he's wearing in Oklahoma.
I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility at all, Dave. Yeah. Because honestly, I mean, you could possibly even end up with the exact same 4 teams in the playoff.
I agree.
I think Notre Dame and Oklahoma are both on the outside a little bit. But I think you could end up with that. And if you end up with Oklahoma, Alabama, and Clemson having great seasons and ending up in the playoff, there you go.
Could you imagine if it was Alabama playing somebody else in the first round and Oklahoma playing Clemson in the first round? Could you imagine what the narrative's going to be? Because remember, this year, I think we've got something like 13 days between the New Year's Day game and the championship game. Can you imagine the narrative that you're going to hear if it's Tua versus Jalen, Oklahoma versus Alabama in the national championship game?
I guarantee you people wouldn't be saying the whole Alabama doesn't belong thing. They'd actually be rooting for us.
Oh, no, I disagree. They'll be rooting for us to get there. They would not be rooting for us in the national championship game.
Oh, no, they want Jalen to win. They want that headline. They want that to happen. But I think people would be wanting us to make it instead of – they wouldn't be talking about our schedule more than they'd want us to be there for their own story. But
I agree. And so there you go. Yeah. That's New York. That's what I think. Now, when I sent you the Lindy's magazine, Adam, I only sent you the top 7 picks that they predicted.
Yep.
I'm going to go a little bit further. I'm going to go top 15. Let's just because I won't prove a point here.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone says that Alabama's schedule is cake, and their out of conference schedule is cake. But starting at number 15, they've got Auburn preseason. 14 is Iowa. 13 is Texas A&M. So that's 2 Alabama teams that we play. 11 is Texas, 10 is Oregon, 9 is Notre Dame, 8 is LSU, another team. So that's 3.
Yep.
7 is Ohio State, 6 is Florida. We don't play them. 5 is Michigan, 4 is Oklahoma, 3 is Georgia. We will eventually play either Georgia or Florida.
Yep.
Number 2 is us. Number 1 is Clemson. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of Alabama's 12 scheduled games in the top 15. I understand that if you look at Alabama's schedule, we've got Duke. We've got, I don't even know who the other 2 are. Crappy teams.
They are Southern Miss, Duke, New Mexico State, Southern Miss, and Western Carolina Catamounts.
Okay. It's crap. It is utter crap. But that's 4 games.
Yeah.
So we got 8 games left. Half of those games that we have left are against top 15 talent, preseason talent.
So you're basically breaking it down to say 4 cupcake, 4 mid-tier, 4 top tier.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then if you look at Clemson's schedule, it's all
Sorry. Sorry. Georgia Tech, A&M, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Syracuse, Charlotte, UNC, Florida State, Louisville, Boston College, Wofford, NC State, Wake Forest, and South Carolina. I mean,
right.
That sounds like a schedule you would set for yourself in franchise mode.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if Clemson doesn't finish undefeated, there's something totally wrong with the way Dabo Swinney does things.
Yeah.
Texas A&M is going to be a tough game. I truly think, well, we'll get to this in a second when we pick the SEC. I truly think that Kellen Mond could possibly be one of the top tier quarterbacks in the SEC.
Yeah.
Are they a good enough team to beat Clemson in Death Valley? I don't think so. I think that it's going to be a close game like it was last time, but I truly do think that Clemson is going to be easily undefeated going into the national championship game or the semifinal game when they play Oklahoma, because I'm rooting for that Oklahoma-Alabama national championship game.
Yeah.
So let's do this. We've given our Heisman picks. We've given our thoughts on the Alabama schedule and the Clemson schedule. Let's just right now, May 29th at 9:23 East or Central Time. Sorry, 10:23 Eastern Time. Got ahead of myself.
There you go.
Give me your top 4 that you will see January 1, 2020.
Top 4. I mean, you have Alabama, Clemson in there. I do think, though, that I'll caveat that with, let's just say A&M does come through and beat Clemson. I don't think it's going to take but one loss to put Clemson on the outside looking in if everybody else stays undefeated. So I think their position is the most tenuous. I think, to your point, Alabama's SEC schedule, especially with some of the teams in the West they play in the regular season, I think that saves them from that same thing. So I think you've got Clemson and Alabama. Oklahoma's going to be up there. And, I mean, I hate to say it, it's the same top 4.
You've got Notre Dame as well?
I've got Notre Dame as well, because when you have Alabama, Georgia, and Florida in there that closely, you're not going to get 2 SEC teams in again. I don't know of a way that's going to happen. Just sitting here in May, right? The season may play out and everybody has 2 losses. Who knows? But when you have 2 teams in the East, you can't have both of them. So you can't have Georgia and Florida. So then you got Alabama, Georgia. If Alabama beats Georgia in the championship game, they're both undefeated going to it. One of them drops out and they're not going to get back in. So if you look at it that way, that's 3 of your top 7. And then you've got Oklahoma, Notre Dame, and Ohio State. If you're talking Alabama, Clemson. So Ohio State always seems like they're right there, but it always seems like something happens with those guys. And I think that'll continue. So I don't see any other way to have a different top 4 at this stage in the game.
All right. Well, I'm going to go. I like your first 3, but I'm going to do them a little out of order.
All right.
Alabama 1 because of that schedule.
Yep.
because at the end of the season, Alabama plays harder teams than Clemson, and you're going to see that in the voters.
Yep.
Alabama or Clemson 2 because they'll be undefeated.
Yep.
3 Oklahoma just because I want them to be 4 just so we could have Alabama Oklahoma in that first game because I don't trust us playing Jalen Hurts because I know what he can do when the pressure's against him. I'm going to do something that I don't like doing. I'm putting my hope for my top 4 right now. My number 4 team will be the Jim Harbaugh-led Michigan Wolverines.
Wow, okay.
I think this is the year they get past Ohio State because they don't have Urban to deal with anymore. Ohio State's still a good team. They're a top 7 team. But I think that Michigan is going to get Shea Patterson, good Shea Patterson this year. And I think this is the year Michigan gets it, but they meet Alabama in the first game.
That's spoken like you're almost a true Michigan man. This is the year. This is the year.
Do we want to call Papchak and get him on the sideline warning again?
I think we might, because this is the year. I'm telling you.
All right. Well, we're 25 minutes in, Adam. We've only got it. If we're going to do this as a 45-minute show, we've got to take a break here.
Isn't that crazy? I'm loving it. This is perfect for me.
I know you like this short, quick, get it out of your system type show. I don't. I think we could go on more rants, but we need to do our Roo Sport topics. So, Adam, hit him up with that Roo Sport.
If I had to make my top picks of the top 4 best running accessories, the top 4 would all be Roo Sport pouches, just in different colors. How about that?
I'd go top 2 pouches.
Yeah.
I'd go 3, the battery bank.
There you go.
The power bank that you could have for your phone because you'd have to have it in that beltless bag there.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then I'd go that Roo Lounger as number 4.
Oh, okay.
Just because you got to have that Roo Lounger at the end of the race. I collapsed at the finish line there for the Princess Half, and if I had that Roo Lounger, I could have just collapsed on the lounger.
Oh, if only. So our basically between our picks, we've covered the entire product line. That if you go to www.theroosport.com and use the code Sideline30, all lowercase, then the numbers 30, that's the entire product line that you would be able to get a discount on. Is that right?
I think there's a couple of other things on there. Yeah, all the pouches.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple of other things on there. I hadn't been on the website in a couple of days, but I know Earl and Brenda do a good job.
So go and figure out, and maybe our folks can weigh in on their own top 4.
Yeah, in fact, let's see. theroosport.com.
You're visiting it as we speak live.
I'm visiting this live. Let's see. Shop. And I'm going to see what other categories we've got here.
Dave's going to buy a Minnie Mouse pouch while he's out there.
No. I've already got one of them in the family. Let's see. You went mute for a second there, Adam. What happened?
I'm typing. I don't want to type in our guest's ears.
Well, okay. Yeah, I'm seeing Roo Sport Power Bank.
The 2.0 and the Plus. So I think that's, you got to figure out which one it is that you need, right?
Yeah, I mean, you need all of them. So I'm seeing the Roo Lounger. I'm seeing everything. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff on here.
There you go. And all of those products.
Roo Sport Theme Park? What's this?
What?
Okay, it's all Minnie Mouse accessories. Like it's
nice. Oh, and even the Roo bags to keep your stuff in. Keep your stuff waterproof. So all of that stuff, great products all the way all around. Thanks to Roo Sport for being a sponsor. And again, that code Sideline30 if you want to check out their website, theroosport.com, and get 30% off.
There you go. There you go. And something that we hope Alabama doesn't take 30% off of is their schedule.
Nice.
There you go. I had to get a good premium segue in once.
That's actually perfect because 4 out of 12 games are cupcakes. That's 30% of their schedule.
That is 30% of the schedule. So let's go quickly, and we're just going to go game by game, Adam.
Okie dokie.
And let's pick it. Let's be honest. If we don't say undefeated, then something's wrong with us. But looking at the schedule, August 31st versus Duke in Atlanta, is there any way that David Cutcliffe surprises Alabama?
Surprises in terms of a win?
Right.
Or surprise? No, I think surprises in terms of maybe there's a quarter where they hang in and keep it close for a quarter or a half, possibly.
Keep in mind they lost their starting quarterback.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying it's the first game, and we're coming off a tough loss to end the season last season. I think if he might surprise us in the first quarter.
Tua's got to humble himself, man. Maybe what if he doesn't humble
that's
himself?
true. Maybe he humbles himself down to the level of a humble old Duke over there. No, we've got that one covered. I think that one in New Mexico State. I think easy, right?
Right.
South Carolina, I'm interested to see.
Well, remember, so they just announced today that this is going to be the first SEC on CBS 2:30 kickoff, 2:30 Central kickoff. Do you remember the last time Alabama went to South Carolina?
What year was it?
2010.
2010.
Chris Smelly was the quarterback.
Yes, I do remember that.
Alabama was coming in hot. We were supposed to be one of the best teams in the country.
Yep.
And we had Julio, we had Ingram, we had all these players who are now stars in the NFL, and they thumped us.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say the year before that, because I remember when we were in the hospital with Aiden, we were playing South Carolina in Tuscaloosa, and even that was a struggle.
Right.
The year before that too.
That was the championship year, though.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, that I'm interested to see what it is against South Carolina this year.
Yeah.
So
the game that'll be on your birthday while we are at Halloween Horror Nights. Actually, that's probably going to be a late kickoff. Dadgummit.
Hey, we did it last time with Texas A&M. We'll do it with
It was a 2:30 kickoff that last year.
Southern Miss, dude. Come on.
The last time Alabama played Southern Miss, what happened?
Think about the houses that will be there, Dave. You'll make it, I promise.
Who are you going to call? Anyway, the last time Alabama played Southern Miss, what happened, Adam?
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Tyrone Prothro.
That was that long. That was the last time.
That was the last time Alabama played Southern Miss.
Holy cow! So we're due.
Yeah, exactly.
On these guys.
The 28th is all.
Yeah, the one after that with Ole Miss makes me nervous. I still haven't gotten over that run they made.
No, there's no way that this Ole Miss team beats us.
Oh, I know, but still, it just makes me.
They have none of those wide receivers. Come on, Adam, have some faith.
Oh, I have faith. It just makes me nervous.
The October 12th game, I'm circling.
Yeah,
because that's the game where I think Alabama's going to start struggling. And now granted, we've got an off week before Texas A&M.
Yeah,
but like I said earlier, I think Kellen Mond is one of the top quarterbacks in the SEC. The first coach that's going to beat Nick Saban is going to be one of two. The first Saban disciple that'll beat Nick Saban is going to be one of two.
Yeah.
It'll be either Jimbo Fisher or it'll be, why did his name escape me? Tennessee.
Jeremy Pruitt.
Jeremy Pruitt. Yeah, I don't know why that happened. But
they're back-to-back this year. So
yeah, and I don't know if it happens this year, but this is as good a time as any for Jimbo to come up and surprise Alabama.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that. I'm not going to put that as a guaranteed win. I'm going to put that as a maybe in my book.
Yeah.
Tennessee's a guaranteed win.
It better be.
Yeah, Arkansas, it's a guaranteed win.
Yeah.
LSU, which we don't have an off week before this year, I don't think.
Yeah, we do. We do.
Okay. So there's 2 off weeks this year. That's right. I forget about that.
Yep.
LSU returned 17 starters from that team that won 10 games last year.
Yep.
Joe Burrows came on pretty hot as a returning quarterback. I think LSU is going to be good, but they won't be great. I think that the reason LSU was good last year is because that defense was stout. They lost a lot on that defense last year into the NFL this year. I think Alabama's a guaranteed win against LSU. I don't want to say for sure, but I am more confident in that LSU game than I am that Texas A&M game.
Yeah. I think LSU will be good. I think they're a 9-10 win team again, but when they've got to go up against Florida, Mississippi State, Auburn, and Alabama, at least in 2 of those games, they're going to trip up.
Right, exactly.
And that's in a row. I think 2 of those games they trip up. I think they go another maybe 10 win, but I don't think they're going to win the West at all.
Yeah. Mississippi State, at Mississippi State, Joe Moorhead, we don't know who their quarterback is. Well, actually, we do know who their quarterback is. He just transferred from Penn State to Mississippi State. So Moorhead knew him when he was at Penn State.
Okay.
I still don't think that's enough. This Mississippi State team's in shambles.
Yeah, they're not ready yet. No.
They lost the best part of that team last year. It was that defensive line, and all of them went to the NFL.
Yep.
That's a guaranteed win. November 23rd, I will actually be on the high seas on a Disney cruise with this one. I probably won't even get to watch this game.
Yeah.
It's Western Carolina. Who cares?
If it's on TV, you can request it, though.
Can I?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it's ESPN.
You can talk to them when you get on the ship, and they can see what they can do.
It's an ESPN-owned, Disney-owned product, so I'm sure they'll get into a sports bar. But I'll be around the aqueduct, man. Let's be honest.
You know what? If you're scheduling any part of your Disney cruise around the Western Carolina game, I will find a small tugboat, go all the way out to sea, climb aboard, smack you, and then come home.
I mean, let's be honest. If anybody does it, it would be me.
That's what I know it would. But I'm telling you right now, if you're like, oh, we were going to go to dinner at Palo, but it's kickoff, yeah, I'll smack you around.
Adam, I'm not taking my 4-year-old, then 5-year-old to Palo.
No, you put the 4 or 5-year-old in the Oceaneers Club, and then you and Amanda go to Palo. Come on, man.
Good point. All right, and last but not least, at Auburn. This is going to be tough.
Yeah.
I think we find out who Auburn is with their first game against Oregon.
Yes. I have that one circled as one of the ones I'm looking forward to the most.
I do as well.
Any team, because I think, like you said, it's going to be how you know which Auburn is going to show up this year.
Yeah. I think that by that point in time, it's going to be Bo Nix as their starting quarterback.
Yeah.
If they don't start with Bo Nix will be their starting quarterback at the end of the season. And Bo Nix scares me.
Yeah.
I think he's the real deal. He's probably the best quarterback to come out of the state of Alabama since A.J. McCarron.
Okay.
Dare I say? Because,
yeah,
I mean, think about it. Yeah, I mean, and A.J. wasn't even highly recruited for the state of Alabama.
Yeah.
So, Bo Nix is going to be real, and
yeah, but I think the big thing for Auburn is going to be how they make it through October and November, right? Because they've got Florida, then Arkansas, then LSU, then Ole Miss, then Georgia, then Samford, then us. I mean, so every other week there for those 2 months, they've got the best teams in the SEC basically lined up.
Yeah, I agree. So
it's going to be interesting to see for sure.
Okay, so let's now that we've got Alabama, let's go ahead and right here, like we did with the preseason picks, let's pick all 14 SEC teams and where you see them finish.
Wow.
And then at the end we'll tell you how Lindy's has it stacked up. I just threw you for a loop. Wow, I just saw that mute. I saw that eye roll there.
I'm just like, hang on, let me okay then.
All right, so let's start with the East. In the bottom of the East, number 7, anybody but Vanderbilt?
Oh no, it's got to be Vanderbilt.
Okay. Number 6, I'm throwing Kentucky. They lost their best player, and as Ben always says, Benny and the Jets, Benny Snell.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're top tier yet. I'm going to say Kentucky's going to go 6. Who you got?
I say Kentucky and Missouri are going to duke it out to see who takes that spot. I'll go with you and say Kentucky though.
Okay. I'm going to shock you. Number 4.
I think I know where you're going.
Number 5, actually.
Yeah.
This is where I'm going Tennessee.
Yeah, that's what I figured you were going to say.
Yeah, but that isn't my shocker. Go ahead.
That's not your shocker. I've got Missouri in that spot where you've got Tennessee.
Okay. All right. So at number 4, I'm going to throw South Carolina here.
Yeah.
I think South Carolina's good, but they're not great. Yeah. This is South Carolina.
I say the same. Yep.
Okay. So at number 3, you're going Tennessee?
Yes, I am.
Wow. All right.
So I had the shocker. Who knew?
Well, no, my shocker ain't happened yet.
Go for it then. So you got 1, 2 left. Is it Georgia or Florida?
No, I hadn't made my pick yet.
That's what I'm saying. Those are the 2 that are left, right?
No, I haven't said 3 yet.
Oh, you haven't said 3 yet. I'm sorry, Dave.
At 3, I got the Georgia Bulldogs.
I got to go, man. I don't have time for this garbage.
Here's why. I think Florida is much improved this year. And because of who transferred to Missouri, I think Kelly Bryant is going to make Missouri the number 2 team in the SEC. I think Georgia loses 2 games in the SEC West. And that's going to be to Missouri and to my number 1 team on the SEC East. That's going to be to Missouri and my number 1 team, Florida.
So you've got Florida, Missouri, and Georgia?
Yep.
Wow, man. They will burn Kirby in effigy if Missouri ends up having a better year than Georgia in the East. Yeah, I don't think Kelly Bryant's enough. I still pick Missouri down at the bottom, but I've got the order everybody would expect. I think Florida is much improved. I think Georgia's still got too much. So I've got Georgia 1, Florida 2, Tennessee 3.
All right. SEC West.
Spoken like you feel about Michigan like I feel about Tennessee. I think this is the year Tennessee starts to get it together. Not like cohesively where they're really put something together and everybody thinks they're going to make a run at the whole thing. But I think they start to show signs of life. And I think this is where Pruitt knows that if he doesn't pull it together at Tennessee quick, his option of being there when Saban retires is pretty much going to be out the window.
Let the record show at 9:41 Central on May 29th, the year of our Lord 2019, Adam Russell said that Tennessee will be much improved. Now, go back in the archives to, I don't remember what episode it was, but it was the episode after the Alabama-Tennessee game last year.
Yep.
When Ben and myself got back from the third Saturday in October game, and we were saying how great of a time we had, but how we wish that Tennessee was much improved, and that made the Alabama-Tennessee rivalry better. What did you say, Adam?
Oh, I said you guys were crazy, but there's
you called us Tennessee apologists.
I did, because there's a difference in saying that you think there's the possibility that Tennessee starts to pull it together this year, and you and Ben saying, golly gee, I sure wish Tennessee was good again. 2 completely different things. I don't want them to be number 3. I want them to be last at everything they ever try to do, including breathing and eating. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to start to pull it together in reality, which is why I have them at number 3. I don't want them there, but you guys said you wanted them to be much improved. It's different.
We will leave that up to the listeners. 931-44 Blitz. If you think that Adam is a total hypocrite and going against his words, 931-44 Blitz. CJ Watson, I'm looking at you.
And BK, I'm looking at you. Come on, man.
We've got a call from BK we've got to play, but I don't know if we're going to have time. I don't know if we got time this week. We'll have to play it. BK, you're going to open our show next week. That's a guarantee. All right, so we got to go to the West. Number 7, is there any team worse than Arkansas?
Vanderbilt, but they're not in the West. No, I agree. Arkansas last, yeah.
Okay. Number 6, I'm going Mississippi State. I think they're good, but I think that the rest of the West is better.
I'm actually going to put Ole Miss there. I'm going to go the other side of the state.
Okay. You're going to go with that team up north. I'm going with that team up north on the 5th pick.
Yep.
And you're probably going to go with my 6th pick.
Yeah. Yeah, we basically just flipped Ole Miss and Mississippi State, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so who you got 4?
4, I've got Texas A&M.
This is where I'm going to LSU.
Okay, yeah. I'm not mad at you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At 3, I'm going to put Auburn at 3.
Yep, I've got Auburn at 3.
At 2, you've got LSU?
Yes.
I assume?
Yes, I do.
At 2 is where I have Texas A&M.
Okay.
I think that they only lose one SEC game this year.
Okay.
And at 1, we know.
So you're saying that if Alabama slips up in College Station and loses to Texas A&M, winning all else, and Texas A&M winning all else, except for the one game you think they'll lose, which I'm assuming is the game to Alabama.
Right.
If they end up winning that game, Texas A&M goes to the SEC championship?
No.
Is it that close in your mind?
Yes.
Okay.
Now here's why I say no. Keep in mind, here's where it gets tricky.
Mm-hmm.
Because no, you're right.
If we lose in College Station, your pick for the West after that game would be Texas A&M at that point.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, I think that they're that good. I really do.
Cool.
Now, I promise you I'd tell you how Lindy sees it. And 99% of the time, I'm more of an Athlon guy. But lately, Lindy has been a little bit better than Athlon in their predictions. Lindy has the East at Georgia, Florida, Missouri, South Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Vandy. So very close to yours. In fact, I almost say it's right at yours, except you have Missouri a little lower.
Yes, yeah.
The West is shot for shot yours. Alabama, LSU, A&M, Auburn, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Arkansas.
I promise I didn't take it from that.
Oh, I know. And so there's our predictions. There's all that. This is where we normally stop and do sideline warning. But I think that this is the time that we have to pause. And on this show, we are unapologetically Alabama fans. Cool story. I didn't catch this gentleman's name, but my grandmother, Frida Vest, love her dearly, has a good friend of hers who ran track at Auburn. And he made a comment and says, "Hey, I listened to that Sideline Warning podcast. First off, I'm sorry, sir, I didn't catch your name. But thank you for listening. Thank you for saying the kind words you said to my grandmother." He made a point to say, "Yeah, those guys don't talk much Auburn, do they? They're knowledgeable, but they don't talk much Auburn." Well, sir, I apologize. We are unapologetically Alabama. We both graduated from Alabama, so we are Alabama fans. But there are things in this world that are more important than Alabama and Auburn. There's time when both campuses need to come together and hold hands. 2 times in the past 10 years when I'm going to cuss, and I apologize when some tips.
Okay, we got it.
Yeah.
You caught yourself. Now we're good.
Yeah, comes from Texas and calls himself an Alabama fan and poisons the Tumors Oaks. When a tornado shatters all of Tuscaloosa, Auburn did its finest to come up and help Tuscaloosa. But Saturday night into Sunday morning was another time that both universities reach across the aisle of hatred, rivalry, and realize that there's more to life than athletics. Saturday night, Auburn's beloved radio commentator, Rob Bramlett, and his wife were involved in a very horrific car accident. Adam, was it in Birmingham or Auburn? I don't remember where.
I think it was in Auburn.
Okay. His wife, Nancy, passed away on the site. Rob Bramlett was airlifted to the hospital. They thought that he could have made it. He was in critical care, but unfortunately he did pass away. And I think that it's only fitting that we do something on Sideline Warning that we don't like to hear on this podcast. 2013, the unthinkable happened. When you think of the name Rob Bramlett, you think of this call. And I want you to know that it breaks my heart that we have to play this on this podcast. We at Sideline Warning do our hearts go out to the Bramlett family. Our hearts go out to the Auburn family. You don't hear me say this much on this podcast. In fact, you've heard me say it once to appease a bet I had with my friend Cameron Humphrey. But we here at Sideline Warning, we say this to you, Auburn family, War Eagle, because y'all would do the same if Eli Gold passed away. So this one goes out to you guys.
All right, here we go. 56-yarder. Does not have the leg. And Chris Davis takes it in the back of the end zone. He'll run it out to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game. He ran the missed field goal back. He ran it back 109 yards. They're not going to keep him off the field tonight. Holy cow.
That breaks my heart to have to play that in more than one reason. That's what happened to the Auburn University family. Just, Adam, hours after that came out, Alabama found out that their oldest living quarterback, Bart Starr, who was very influential in the Birmingham area, very influential in the NFL for the Green Bay Packers. He was the quarterback for the Packers when they won the first 2 Super Bowls. He won NFL championships before the Super Bowl. He played for Vince Lombardi with the Packers. His number is retired with the Packers, but he also played at Alabama. I'm just going to read you from Wikipedia. During Starr's freshman year at Alabama, the SEC allowed this was one of the first years that they allowed freshmen to play varsity football. Starr did not start for Alabama as a freshman, but he did play enough minutes to earn a varsity letter, which is unheard of. His high point of the season came in at quarterback relief at the Orange Bowl, where he completed 8 of 12 passes for 93 yards and a touchdown. Starr entered his sophomore year at Alabama as a starting quarterback, safety, and punter. His punting average was 41.4 yards per kick, which was ranked second in the nation. Alabama recorded a 6-2-3 record and lost in the Cotton Bowl to Rice. If you remember that game, it's also famous for what, Adam?
I don't know.
He's got too much Alabama in him. It's when the guy came off the sidelines.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. In that year, Starr completed 59 of 119 passes that year for 870 yards with 8 touchdowns. In May of that year, he eloped with his wife. The couple chose to keep their marriage a secret. College often revoked their scholarships to married athletes in the 50s. His wife remained in Jackson, Alabama, while Starr returned to University of Alabama. That summer, Starr suffered a severe back injury during a hazing incident for his initiation into the A Club. He covered up the cause by fabricating a story about being hurt while punting a football. He did not play much that junior year because of his injury. The back injury disqualified him later from military service and would occasionally bother him the rest of his football career. It was also a big deal that year that the Alabama was bad because Alabama's athletic department fired Red Drew, replacing them with the infamous J.B. Ears Whitworth.
Oh, yeah.
So
they thought it was bad before.
Right. Theoretically, if Bart Starr hadn't have gotten hurt, Red Drew wouldn't have been fired. J.B. Whitworth wouldn't have been fired. And in 1957, Mama might not have called.
Wow.
So there you go. Whitworth conducted a youth movement in Alabama for the 55 season, and only 2 seniors started for the team. While supposedly healing from a back injury, Starr rarely played his senior season either. Starr played briefly in the Blue-Gray Bowl game. Johnny D., the basketball coach of Alabama that year, was friends with the personnel director of the Green Bay Packers. D. recommended Starr to the personnel director, and the Packers were convinced that Starr had the ability to succeed in the NFL and would learn quickly. He was drafted in the 17th round. The Packers offered $6,500 to sign Bart Starr. Yes, he requested that he receive $1,000 up front. That's awesome.
Wow.
17th round, and Bart Starr is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. His career NFL stats: 1,808 completions, 57.4% completion rate, 152 touchdowns, 24,718 passing yards, a passer rating of 80.5. He is on the NFL 1960s All-Decade team. He's in the NFL Hall of Fame, the Packers Hall of Fame. He was 5-time NFL passing rating leader. He was the NFL MVP once. He was 3-time second-team All-Pro, 1-time first-team All-Pro, 4-time Pro Bowl, 5-time NFL champion, 2-time Super Bowl MVP, and 2-time Super Bowl champion. He was also the Green Bay Packers head coach from 1975 to 1983.
What a career, man. I mean,
I know.
Cow, auspicious start, but wow.
The state of Alabama couldn't have lost two greater ambassadors for athletics in one night.
Yep.
I hate to end Sideline Warning on a sad note, but we here at Sideline Warning, our hearts go out to the Star family. Roll Tide to the Star family. I had to say those other two words to the Bramlets. Roll Tide to the Star family. Our thoughts and prayers go to the Star family and the Bramlett family. Guys, this is a time when athletics means something just because of what these two gentlemen meant to their respective schools. Bramlett was an Alabama or an Auburn alumni, and there's not many people you will find that loved Auburn University more than Rob Bramlett.
Yep.
Bart Starr, of course, is an Alabama alumni, and there's not many people you would have found that loved Alabama more than Bart Starr. So, like we said, our hearts go out to those two families. Adam, if anyone wants to give their thoughts on Bart Starr and Rob Bramlett, any thoughts on how the show went this week, any thoughts going forward, if you even want to talk about Unrelated at Birth, give them that number to call.
Or if you want to call and tell Dave that he's still a Tennessee apologist, it's 931-44-BLITZ. 931.
Or that Adam is a hypocrite because he's basically now a Tennessee apologist as well.
That's 931-42-BLITZ if you want to call him that.
No,
but the real number is 931-44-BLITZ.
Yep. We're also on Twitter. We are at SW The Show. I am at DAdams419. He is at RunTideRun. We hadn't made our Twitters or anything for Unrelated to Birth yet. We'll need to get on that.
Let's get on it. Yeah.
We'll get on it. All right, guys. We're on Instagram. Find us on Facebook. You can also join the Sideline Warning Fan Club on Facebook. Just search Sideline Warning Fan Club. And, guys, we say it every week. And we say this so cliche, but we do mean it. We do love you guys because the two of us talk all the time. But the fact that you actually take time out of your day to download and listen to our thoughts, it means something to us.
Yeah,
it really does. So, guys, we love you. We'll talk to y'all next week. Roll Tide. And we didn't talk about them this week, but shop on. We'll see y'all next week. Bye, guys.